Hey guys, this is Sarosh and you are watching the Pakistani Outdoorsman. October is here, which means we are in fall transition. The leaves have started to change color and the bait fish have started to scatter throughout the lake, which is the reason why fall fishing can be one of the most hard times of the year in terms of fishing. But there are certain patterns that you could follow, which will help you catch more fish and bigger and better fish. So I wanted to do a top 5 lure video for the month of October, but I couldn't skip any, so here are my top 6 lures for the month of October. At number 6, I have KVD's Swimming and Caffeine Shad. The reason I chose this bait is because they're really fast and you can cover tons of water in a really small time. I like to throw paddle tails generally at this time of the year, more specifically KVD's Swimming and Caffeine Shad. They have a lot of salt, a lot of caffeine sent into them, so the fish are attracted to them not just because of the paddle but because also of the scent. You can rig them with several different things. Right here I have a 5/0 1/8 ounce of a kamikaze hook, or you could put a shaky head on them and it would just feel as if the minnows are feeding off of the bottom of a lake or river or wherever you're fishing, even if it's a pond. This specific one is a ghost shad colored Swimming in Caffeine Shad. It comes in different sizes, but this specific one is 5 inches, which is about perfect to throw at this time of the year because what I'm trying to mimic is the profile of shad. And shad usually you would be able to find in this color. It's almost translucent, and as I said, I downsize the bait in this time of the year, going from throwing to 10, 11, 12, even 13-inch worms and dragging them across the bottom. I tend to throw smaller profile baits anywhere between 3 to 5 inches and see what they are usually on. And number 5 is a soft plastics, either creature style bait or just a Senko. This specific one is a river bug, 4¼ inches. And as I said before, at this time of the year I'm downsizing, which is the reason why it's such a small profile bait. Itself, it has quite a lot of action with its tail, but what I would do sometimes is split the tail from the middle, or even the second segment I would split it so that the two parts of the tail have individual action, and all in all the bait has more water propelling action. I would oftentimes throw a weight to it, all the way from 1/8, 1/4, all the way up to ½ an ounce. It really depends what the depth of the water is, how much stronger the current is, and apart from creature style bait, I would just usually throw a Senko, something in natural color, because at this time of the year what the bass are doing is they're feeding on bait fish, shad or bluegill. So natural colors are going to be the ones that shine more. This red river bug, the river bug is in, I believe, magic red flake, and the worm is in watermelon chartreuse. This is very much in contrast to what I would be doing in summers. In summer, what I do is throw a larger profile bait, something like this. This is a KVD's bullworm in 10-inch size, plum color, and what I would do is attach a weight to it, let it fall all the way down to the bottom and drag it across the bottom. You could possibly experiment at this time of the year by using worms that are 8 inches, 9 inches. You could try them on with a 6 or 7 inch as well, also with a creature style bait. But really the ones that are going to shine at this time of the year are smaller profile baits, such as this river bug, which is in 4¼ inches, or like this, a 5-inch Senko. At number 4, I have the Ratlet and Vibe in blue chrome. Now with this, I usually use this in dirtier water, shallower water, It comes out of vegetation really easily, so you don't really have to worry about getting this lure stuck in grass. I would cast this around docks, on grass flats, even around cover. Now notice how small it is. It's only about 2.5 inches, weighs 5/8 ounce, and there are a couple ways I would retrieve it. The first key is to cast it as far as you can, and after that you could either reel it in as you would do to a spinnerbait, no biggie, nothing complex here, or I would do what we call a yo-yo retrieve. Is what I do is I would let that lure sink down, and then I would slowly lift my rod tip up and then reel the slack in, and I would do it all over again. And what it does, it targets different water columns, so it could also be used as a fish finder when you don't know specifically in which depth, at what depth the fish are suspended, because this is fall and fish, especially the bait fish, kind of scatter and they're suspended throughout the lake. So definitely this is at number 4. This is in blue chrome, so it has a lot of flash to it, so even if you are throwing in severely dirtier water, the blue chrome would be the color to shine. Next on my list is the square bill crankbait. Now this is something I would use when my top 2 lures aren't working, and what my top 2 lures are for the month of October, stay tuned up until the end of the video to find out. But at this time of the year, again, with every lure that I throw, I'm trying to match the profile of the shad in both the color and the size, and this is a perfect size and the color. This specific one is a Cordell brand square bill crankbait. I'm not sure what the specifics are, and for every tackle, every lure that I'm showing you in this video, I'm going to attach a link in the description so you guys can check them out yourselves, all the specifics and all the features of the lures that I'm showing you. They have really good buoyancy. What it means is that when they hit a piece of cover in the water, whether it's a wire, a piece of wood, any vegetation which is solid and doesn't budge from its place, what you do is stop reeling and they will rise to the top, and you can reel them back to your rod. And these are something that I would throw in creeks, in grass, and even in flats. I prefer a size something like this. This is about 2.5 inches. Oftentimes what I would do is, I love experimenting, and sometimes I would throw a bigger size square bill, something like this, and this is the Ratlet Square 5 from Arashi. It is self-tuning, self-adjusting square bill, and it has a really tight wobble to it, and what it does is mimics the bait fish perfectly. So I would throw something like this, the Arashi or the Cordell, which is the color of shad, or the sexy shad back, something like the one that Arashi has. And oftentimes, as I said, I would experiment to throw in smaller lures all the way to big size lures and just wait to see what happens. Now we're in fall transition, and what it really means is that your top water lures are going to be the ones that are going to shine, especially in the early morning conditions and the late evening conditions. For this very reason, number 2 on my list are the pencil baits and the weight baits. And the conditions ideal for these kind of baits are when the fish aren't really into something more aggressive, they are liking something that's more subtle, and the conditions of the weather in general are very calm. The water is not super choppy, and the wind is not blowing really hard. And what these baits allow me to do is that they allow me to keep these lures in the target zone for extended and longer periods of time. It's not something that you have to cast out and reel it back in super fast or constantly. You can give these a pause, And what I'm again trying to do is this time of the year, I'm trying to match the profile, both in size and the color of the bait fish, more specifically bluegill and shad. This one is the head-on spark. It's not a junior, it's a full-size lure, so I may not throw this exact one in the specific color or size. I would definitely go a little bit smaller and change it to something bone or more of a chrome color, if you could say. But this Bass Pro weight bait is the perfect size. It's the perfect color that I would throw at this time of the year, especially in the early mornings. I would throw these around cover. I would throw these around structure like docks because that's where the bait fish are going to accumulate at this time of the year, and the bait fish are going to attract more fish and the bigger fish. Number one on my list are the Buzzbaits, and the reason why I chose these baits to be at number one is because they're such versatile lures. You can fish them around any cover, any pieces of structure, whether it's docks or around brush pile or vegetation, flats, and even grass. You can cover tons of water with them in a small amount of time, and they really help you in finding where the fish exactly are located and what they are feeding on. I would throw these in this season, which is fall transition, early mornings, your late evenings, and this is a full-sized striking buzzbait. I'm not sure again exactly what kind, but I will leave a description down for all the tackle and all the lures that I'm talking about in this video below. And over here I have smaller size. Now there are buzzbaits that are smaller than this one. You could make them micro-sized all the way to bigger than this one, but what I usually prefer to stay between these two sizes. The white skirt, again, I'm trying to match shad profile. I would switch between blue glimmer, white, and oftentimes I would switch half white with half chartreuse. This is something that I would use in a little bit of dirtier water. You mean your darker colors so that they can see better. And I would oftentimes do is attach a trailer to them. Right now I've attached a trailer hook, but if I wanted to skip them underneath the dogs, what I would do is take out the peg from the hook, take out the trailer hook, and attach a fat grub or a horny toad, which makes them skip a lot better. I would use with the Buzzbaits, regarding the combo, I usually use a 7'2" medium heavy action rod. The ratio of the reel for me is 7:3 to 1. I know it may not be an ideal reel. Usually people or the pros, they use faster reels than this, but this is the combo that I use specifically for my buzzbaits. So the rod is medium heavy, 7'2", reel ratio is 7:3 to 1, and I have a 50-pound braid on it. So though it's not ideal, but a reel that is this fast makes you reel in these baits fairly faster. These reels have such a high ratio that they don't let these lures submerge in the water. And the way I would fish these is I would try to find a sweet spot between reeling them too fast and reeling them at a constant speed with the blade going on against the water with the constant thump. And I'm fairly sure that you would catch more fish and better sized fish as well. So these were the top 6 lures for the fall. Write down in the comments what are your top 6 lures for the fall, or if you have any suggestions when it comes to tackle or the lures which I'm going to be using for the fall transition. And what I'm going to do is I will make individual videos in the coming weeks for all the lures that I've talked about today, and show you the results during the season of this fall transition. And once again guys, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Like and share my content. Introduce people to my channel, especially to the ones who are new to fishing. Let me help you teach how to fish and, more importantly, get outdoors and have some fun. Have a good day.